Fala, nação armamentista, Mauro Mendonça aqui diretamente da Shot Fair. Eu acabei de soltar o cinho do paraquedas e eu vim aqui agora para o stand do canal do Atirador, que trouxe ninguém mais, ninguém menos, para a gente poder fazer uma entrevista exclusiva com esse camarada aqui do nosso lado. Se você não sabe quem é esse cara, eu vou contar para você. O nome dele é John Lott Jr. Ele é autor de diversos livros na área armamentista e, se você não conhece, um dos grandes livros dele, que inclusive pode ter baseado Armas e Números do Fabrício Rebelo, é o livro chamado Preconceito contra Armas. Inclusive, John Lott Jr. ele é convidado de honra sempre que a Shot Fair ocorre. Ele faz divulgação de painéis aqui, junto com o Benê Barbosa e com o Fabrício Rebelo. Bem, além disso, Vinícius, muito obrigado por você ter cedido esse espaço aqui pra gente. Muito obrigado a toda a equipe que está aqui com a gente. John, nice to have you here again.
Great to talk to you.
Nice. Pessoal, eu vou fazer o seguinte, nós vamos fazer as perguntas em inglês e daqui para frente nós vamos legendar o vídeo para vocês, beleza? John, first question. What's your view about Brazil from the last time you came here?
Well, it's been about 11 months since I've been here. I'm not sure much has changed. I mean, it was bigger change the last 2 years before that. But with Lula here, I mean, obviously it's very difficult for people to be able to have guns for protection. And, you have a very high murder rate, high violent crime rate here in the country. And I think it's sad because I think it's important that people be able to go and protect themselves. Police are important in stopping crimes. I think it's pretty obvious to the police and everybody else here that the police overwhelmingly arrive on the crime scene after the crimes occurred. And the question is what people should do to be able to protect themselves. I was just talking to a prosecutor down here, and he was telling me that only 9% of murders result in identification of the murderer. Only 3% of those cases result in a trial, and only 2% are convicted. So, it's not too surprising that you have a very high murder rate when very few people are caught and convicted for committing murder.
Okay, that's awesome. So, that's really sad. But I have another question for you. What do you think about, all the world is fighting against the guns? Not even Brazil or United States or all countries in the world, they have their own fight against the guns. And we want to protect the right to bear and have guns, right?
I want to protect the right for people to defend themselves.
Yeah. So what do you think we should do as a one world to get together and try something different? Because you are fighting in the United States, we are here in Brazil, fighting Brazil, and everyone is fighting for the country. But what do you think about the gun culture around the globe to help in this fight?
Well, I think the debate in different countries influence what happens in other countries. I think what Bolsonaro did and the fact that murder and homicide rates fell by a third after he became president, went against all the predictions that all the gun control people were making, and it affected their credibility to some extent. But, we all depend on each other, and the issue is just trying to make people safer. And so, I guess a lot of people on the left don't trust individuals to be able to make decisions for themselves. And, trusting somebody with a weapon is kind of the ultimate thing, whether you trust individuals or not, to be able to make decisions. So, I don't know, but it's going to have to be, we have to learn from each other. It's the reason why I'm down here. I'm not getting paid for coming down here, but just to try to help educate people on the costs and benefits, because what motivates me is the notion of what can we do to make people safer. And if my research convinces me of anything, it's the most vulnerable people in our society who benefit the most from having the option to be able to go and protect themselves. People on the left claim that they care about the poor, they claim that they care about minorities, they claim that they care about women. But if my research convinces me of anything, those are the very people who benefit the most from having the option to be able to go and protect themselves. People who are relatively weaker physically, you're almost always talking about a young male criminal doing the attack. And when a young man attacks a woman, there's a much bigger strength difference that exists there than when a man is attacking another man. And the presence of a gun represents a much bigger relative change in a woman's ability to go and protect herself. And with regard to the poor and minorities, where you have violent crime very heavily concentrated, you know, it'd be great if the police were there all the time to protect people. But as I mentioned, police virtually always arrive on the crime scene after the crimes occurred. And that raises a question: what do you advise people to do when they're having to confront a criminal by themselves? And having a gun turns out to be by far the safest course of action.
For sure. So, John, you told us about gun culture, and here in Brazil, we have gun culture mixed to gun sports. And you remember last year you asked us why you are asking for or claiming for gun sports. You should claim for the right of defend yourselves. So what do you think about this type of mixing of gun sports and gun culture? What's your opinion about that?
Well, I think if you're going to win the debate over the long run, focusing on sports isn't going to do it for you, because the other side will say, so you just care about sports, we care about making people safer. And you're going to lose that debate. And so what you have to do is change the debate so that people understand that when they have these gun control laws, they're preventing people from being able to go and protect themselves. And that the cost of the gun control laws are that you're going to make it so that there are more victims who aren't able to protect themselves. You know, there's a reason why every place in the world that's banned either all guns or all handguns has seen an increase in murder rates, often by large amounts. Because you may take, you know, it's the most law-abiding citizens who obey the rules and turn in their guns. You may take a few guns away from criminals, but if you're primarily disarming law-abiding good citizens, you're going to make it easier for criminals to go and commit crimes.
Perfect. Pessoal, vocês estão vendo aí, né? O cara é casca grossa. Vocês estão vendo, né? O cara é casca grossa. Pois é. Vocês estão vendo que o John Lott Jr., ele não é muito favorável a essa história de que, vamos pela via do esporte, né? Ele está deixando muito claro aqui na entrevista que nós precisamos debater na sociedade o direito de acesso civil, de acesso a armas pela população. John, the last question is not actually a question. Please tell to people who are watching us now your message for the people from Brazil.
Well, I'm not sure it's much different than what I've already been saying, but you know, the thing is, police are important in stopping crime. They're very important, but the police can't be there all the time, and so it's important to make people safer, and the best way to do that is to let people be able to go and protect themselves when they're having to confront a criminal by themselves. And the people who benefit the most from being able to do that are those who are the weakest physically, women and the elderly, and the people who are the most likely victims of violent crime, poor individuals who live in high crime urban areas.
John, thank you so much for your time.
Sure.
I'm very happy to have you here again, and thank you so much.
Oh, sure.
Obrigado. Valeu!